The Steel City will embrace you whether you're from here or not.
Yeah, very true, but it may be harder for some people to survive here. Now look, we all know how much we love our city, but City Paper, they recently came out with this really fun list. It was called the 13 people who ain't gonna make it in Pittsburgh. Ain't gonna make it.
I saw this headline and I was like, read,
yes,
I need to click
yes. It's essentially saying that in Pittsburgh, we have some peculiar aspects about our city. So here are a few that we put together. Number one, you won't make it here in Pittsburgh if you love change.
Well, that's true. We talk about this all the time. People hate change.
They hate change here. So do you remember there was a place called Star Lake? And then it wasn't called Star Lake anymore, but people still called it Star Lake. But now it's officially Star Lake again. Yeah. And I think the same thing is true for Acrashore. I mean, people still call it Heinz Field. It's going to take some time.
Jason Kelsey, I'm pretty sure he almost slipped up and said Heinz Field whenever he was here, right?
Yeah.
It's tough. All right, number two, people who don't want to live in a community with deer. You know what? You're not going to make it here if you can't deal with this. I mean, they're everywhere. And they don't care. They're in your yard is their yard.
They're your friends or foes.
And they will look you straight in the eye and not budge.
I'm telling you, city deer are different. They are different.
They're like, what are you looking at?
They would walk down our sidewalk in Mount Washington. It was insane. I'm like, they're even using the right form of passage.
Yeah, absolutely.
No,
they're like, we live here too.
That's right.
All right, people who like driving on a grid, so you won't make it here in Pittsburgh if this is what you're looking for. Just imagine someone dropping you off maybe at the Fort Pitt intersection there, just letting you go. If you can't survive there, I don't know what to tell you.
Maggie, our old Talk Pittsburgh producer who left us this summer, she would say this all the time. She's like, I don't understand how you even, there's no grid. How do you even get around?
If I need to go somewhere, because I'm like, well, there's one-way streets everywhere. I need to know where I'm going. Like, I know how to get there, but where am I going to go to? How am I going to get there? What roads? What alleys?
Triangles.
And I lived in D.C. before, and it's a grid through and through. So especially if you're from a place like that and you move here, it's very tough.
The golden triangle screws everything up.
It does.
You know,
it
becomes triangles and not squares.
This one I thought was interesting. So people who say sports ball, like we're a sports town. I hadn't heard about this, but apparently this is really a thing. So, you know, we love to celebrate our sports teams. We also love to complain about them. But if you say this at a bar, you refer to sports as sports ball, people are going to hate on you. They're going to be
I've never
very
upset
with you.
You even saying it, I was like, ew.
Yeah,
like, are you even from here?
Yes.
Weird.
Again, so there's 13 things on this list, and so
there were a few more. People who come from Flat City, people who eat Hunt's ketchup.
Absolutely not.
That's just self-explanatory there. People who aren't down to cry at Arby's.
Okay, what does this mean?
You know what? I think this was from the Best in Pittsburgh. Remember that? Like that was one of the best places to cry in the city at in the Arby's drive-thru. I think it was the one in Ross Park.
I'll tell you, I cried when they closed the Arby's on Banksville. I was like, oh, no.
I love Arby's.
I haven't had it in a while, but the curly fries. Also, if you can't, a good one would be if you can't handle fries on your salad.
That's it.
Oh, that is a really good one.
Bye-bye. No,
people who think Mr. Rogers is creepy, who are such people?
Oh, Mr. Rogers is so
think that he was creepy.
And then people who want privacy from their neighbors.
Yeah.
I love having good neighbors.
Yeah, you need your neighbors.
I do like Pittsburgh because you can kind of, you have really close people by you, but also you could get a house where you're like completely in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So it's just
what if you need to borrow some sugar?
And you're
Karen's like, what is the safety word for that? I don't remember.
Not gonna happen.
You're not gonna survive Pittsburgh. That's for sure.
No.
Oh, that's a good list. We'll have to check out the full things.